can see. If you don't know me, this is Lucy, and we're going to do yin yoga, which might be a different style of yoga that you're used to. The difference with yin yoga is we're actually not working so much strengthening or stretching. We're working the fascia, and we're stressing the body's tissues to make them more pliable. So it's a safe practice. The challenge, though, is that we hold the postures longer than we normally would. So sometimes the holds are going to be up to 3.5 minutes, and I'm going to use my timer on my phone to time us. So we're going to start. We're actually going to start in a wide-kneed child's pose. You might want to grab a blanket for some extra padding for your knees. So if you have a blanket handy, just fold the blanket so that you can be kneeling on it, on your knees. And then sitting your hips back on your heels. The feet can be together or slightly apart. Okay, and then from here, we're going to lower ourselves down. First of all, to palms, see how that feels. If that's feeling okay, onto forearms. Okay. And then if that's feeling okay, letting the palms stack and releasing the forehead to the palms. So this is child's pose. So let's settle in here for 3 minutes. Child's pose. Okay, just arriving, settling, shifting from your busy day into stillness. It may be the first moment you've had to yourself all day. So we're in child's pose for those of you just joining in. A wide-kneed child's pose. Forehead resting on palms. Stacked fists, or a prop. And you're just starting to pay attention to whatever sensations are here. And then placing your awareness on the breathing. You're actually breathing into the back lungs. So just imagine that I'm resting my hands on your back ribs. And on the in-breath, the back ribs are expanding. And on the exhale, the back ribs are contracting. So even though you might feel compression here in your stomach, your diaphragm, you're expanding the breath out into the back ribs. You're just shifting here. From pushing and striving to just being. Settling here into the stillness. So in yin yoga, we find the shape of the posture. And then we find stillness. And we settle into that shape. And the challenge is being able to hold that shape in stillness. Sorry, that was the timer. So I'd like you to raise the upper body, push the floor away. You can move your blanket off to the side. You're going to come to hands and knees. And with your shoulders above the wrists, let's take the right leg back. Press into the right toes and reach back through the right heel. And just noticing if that stretch is being felt in the Achilles or the calf, the back of the knee. And the more that you're able to direct the heel behind the toes, the more you'll access that stretch. And then switching sides, reaching back through the left leg, reaching the left heel back behind the toes. Just noticing whatever sensation is here on the left side, and it might feel different. Good. And then release back to your knees. Okay. Again, the blanket's going to be useful, especially for the next posture, which is called frog. And today's going to be a hip sequence. So we're going to be working the hips. So for frog, you're placing your shins behind your knees, your hips above the knees, and then we're lowering the upper body to forearms or to even forehead down. So you want to have the knees as far apart as possible without letting the hips come forward or behind the knees. So keeping the thighs are actually perpendicular to the floor. So I'll give you a couple minutes to come into frog. The knees are wide. They're probably wider than your mat. And then your shins are reaching straight back from the knees. And I'm able to externally rotate my feet. So it's actually the big toe edge of my foot that's on the floor. So my foot and my shin is forming a right angle. But we don't have to get that caught up in how we look in the postures. The alignment isn't as important in yin yoga as it is in other styles of yoga. So as long as you're not feeling any pain, you do want to feel something. You do want to feel some resistance, some sensation. If you're not feeling anything, you won't actually be affecting any tissue change. So you come to that appropriate edge once you find the shape. We come to the edge, and then we hold the edge in stillness. And in the stillness, just checking in. What is here? What am I feeling? Where am I feeling it? Is it an ache, stinging, throbbing? Could be feeling lots of sensations. So yoga teaches us that the mind and body are not separate. the mind, body, spirit, they're all the same. And in the physical postures of yoga, it gives us the opportunity to explore the mind, body connection through breath, through tapping into the sensations, through checking in. Checking the timer, halfway there. Stay here for just one more minute. And as we transition from this posture, also recognizing that the transitions are also postures. So yin yoga is a slow, quiet practice. So we also want to make sure that when we transition, we're also transitioning very slowly and mindfully. So I invite you to come up to elbows, and then maybe to one palm and the other, and then stepping the knees together. Probably a lot of groaning going on. And then you're just going to lie yourself down on your mat, tummy down. Yeah. The elbows are wide. Rest your forehead. On your elbows. And with the forehead resting on the elbows, you'll have room for your nose so that you can breathe. And then let the leg muscles relax. So the toes will fall away from the heels. So just let the toes fall away from the heels. And allow the practice today to be about stepping out of autopilot. So one of the things that we notice when we start paying attention on purpose is how much of our daily life is spent operating on autopilot. Our lives are busy and we move from one task to another. And sometimes we actually go through our whole day without stopping to pay attention to what we're actually doing. Did you notice when you took a shower? Did you notice when you ate your lunch? We forget to even pause and observe, how did I get here? So here, just lying on your tummy, just observing the belly, the belly pressing into the mat on the in-breath. And staying on your tummy, but lifting the head and coming to Sphinx pose. So Sphinx pose is where we lift the upper body. And if you think of a Sphinx, the forearms are on the floor. If you want to take a little glance at me, my elbows are underneath the shoulders. And then my legs are extended behind me. So we're actually putting compression and pressure into the back. So we're stressing the tissues in the lumbar, so the low back. So you especially want the area of the body that we're targeting, you want those muscles to be relaxed. So relaxing the low back, relaxing the belly, perhaps closing the eyes, and settling in. It's going to be 3 minutes. And how about here, practicing the stepping out of autopilot? So actually paying attention to your body here in this shape. Noticing the pressure beneath your elbows, the pressure of the hips on the mat. Noticing your breath. Are you breathing in or out through the nose or the mouth? Is the breath long or short? Are you breathing shallow or deep? Is the breath warm or cool? And where in your body is your breath most vividly felt? Is it in the nostrils, the throat, the belly? So this is part of the noticing, the paying attention. And where else do we get to feel an edge or be at this edge in stillness other than yoga? Now, of course, honoring your own limitations. You are your own best teacher. So if it's feeling too intense, you're welcome to lower onto the stacked palms again. Or if it's feeling too intense, you could also just slide the elbows forward so that the angle of the back bend isn't quite as angled, and that will take some of the pressure out of your back. But we only have 10 more seconds, so you've got this. Just releasing the low back, any tension, any resistance. And go ahead, lower down. We're going to place the left cheek down, so you're going to look to the right. Allow the left arm to rest alongside the body, palm up. And then bend the right knee up, slide it up along the floor. And you're in this recovery position. It's taking 1 minute here. Really paying attention to your body here in this shape. Checking in. So the default mode of our mind is actually to be on autopilot. So we go through the routine of our day without actually thinking about it. And in some ways, this makes us more efficient because we get more things done. But actually what they found was that 47% of the time, when we're on autopilot, we're actually lost in thought because we're not paying attention and the mind is wandering. And the mind wandering is actually correlated with unhappiness. So let's bring ourselves up and I'll continue this after. Okay, this time we're going to come to straight arms. So if you can see me, I'm using my arms here as if they were stilts. So my arms are straight, the palms are down. This is called seal pose. You could think of a seal with their flippers. Now, how close you place your palms relative to your hips is going to dictate how much stress you're putting in your spine. So to make it gentler, bring the arms away from your body. To make it more aggressive, bring the palms in closer. So remember, less is more in yin yoga because we actually want to feel relaxed in the postures, especially the part of the body that we're targeting. So we find the shape. We find stillness. And then we settle in just to being with that edge. Not too much, not too little. And we know that we're in the present moment when we're connected and grounded in our bodies. And that's why I'm asking you to check in, to really notice your body in this shape, to notice sensation, pressure, aching, stinging, throbbing. Because it's helping you to be more present. Okay. When we're in our body, we're not in our heads. Okay, just take a couple more breaths. This is very intense. Okay, lowering down, this time right cheek to the floor. Right arm alongside the body, palm up. And slide the left knee up along the floor. If you're in recovery position, we'll take 1 minute here. And again, you're checking in, not checking out, because the mind's going to wander back to thinking, planning, memories, stories. But you're going to bring it back. Just here, open to the experience. aware of sounds, perhaps with the right ear resting on the mat. Just noticing sounds. Sounds that are close by. And sounds that are far away. Perhaps even being aware of the sounds between sounds, the more subtle sound. And then bring the left knee in. Come back up to hands and knees. And for this one, I definitely suggest some padding. So we're going to go into a dragon posture. And it is hard on the weight-bearing knee. I've got a yoga block. You could use a blanket. You could also just fold the edge of your mat in. So coming to kneel about 2/3 of the way down the back of the mat. And if you happen to have your yoga blocks, bring them forward. I'm going to ask that you step your right foot forward. And notice how my right knee is above my right ankle. And then my left knee is way, way back. So you can see my knee from me lifting my foot. So while keeping the right knee stacked over the right ankle, take your left knee as far back as you can. And then the option is going to be to stay on your palms. If you have blocks, that's going to help make the arms longer, makes it a little bit more forgiving. Or you can also lower down to your elbows. Okay, so I'm going to set the timer. It's only going to be 1 minute. This is very intense. So keep pressing the hips forward and down. Okay. The more distance you have between the right front heel and the left knee, the more sensation you're going to feel. So we're actually working to stress and to stretch the tissues in the front of the left thigh. So working into the psoas. It's very intense. Okay, again, not doing anything that doesn't feel safe or good for your body. We're going to hold here just for another 10 seconds. And you might be able to actually come onto the outer right edge of your right foot. So I'm able to come to the pinky edge of my foot and allow my right knee to drop just a little closer to the floor. All right. Okay, come up to palms. Bring the right knee to step it next to the left. Okay, and then we're going to take a downward dog just to stretch it out. And if downward dog doesn't work for your wrists, just stay on hands and knees. We're just stretching the legs. Now, for sure, this is a strengthening posture. And then rise up onto the toes, drop the knees. Right knee is on the padding. Step your left foot forward. See if you can see my left shin, it's vertical. My right knee is going to be as far behind my left heel as possible. I'm going to inch the left foot out to the left edge of my mat so I have room to have my hands in the inside edge of my left foot. The pelvis is sinking forward and down. I'm going to be setting the timer 1 minute here. Very intense. And paying attention to what you're feeling, where you're feeling it. How is this side different than the right side? What is different? What is here? Pressure, aching, throbbing. And what is stopping you from going further? Is it tension or compression? Just noticing. Paying attention. Last couple breaths. Step the left foot back, land the left knee down. Lifting the hips up, downward dog, upside down V shape. Or if you don't like downward dog, hands and knees, and you can do some belly dropping, back arching, and then moving to the upper back rounding, cat cow, pelvic tilts. If you're in down dog, rise up onto the heels, drop the knees. I'm going to come and sit down. And we're going to sit with the soles of the feet together in what's called bound angle pose. Okay, so here's my knees, soles of my feet are together. Grab some type of padding or prop, because we're going to round forward in this posture. And it is useful to be able to rest your head on something, or as you can see, I've got my elbows down to the floor and I'm resting my chin. Now, resisting the urge to have the heels close into the groins. The heels are actually further away from the groins so that you have this wide diamond shape. Okay. So we find the shape. Make sure there's a little bit of an edge, so there's some resistance. We find stillness. We settle in. So this is going to be 3 minutes. Softening and a letting go here. Yielding. And as things start to loosen, you might even be invited to go a little deeper, and that the upper body is able to release a little bit more or not. We never want to force. In Yin Yoga, less is more. Meaning it's better to do less, but be able to stay longer. Okay, so making a pose more difficult in Yin is actually staying in it longer. And then just noticing what is here. Aching, stinging, throbbing. And where am I feeling it? Is it in my hips? Is it my knees, my shoulders? Maybe it's my back. Experiment with tucking the chin to the chest. Relaxing the tongue, the teeth, the eyelids. What about the hands? Is there tension in the hands? Softening and yielding. Being able to shift out of that doing mode of mind into the being mode of mind. Just being here in this shape. Feeling that little bit of an edge. Being here with it in stillness. It's not about how far you go or how good you are at yoga. It's really the quality of attention that you bring to the practice. That's the real challenge. That's why yoga takes a lot of discipline. We're just training the mind through the body. The last few breaths. Remembering when we come up from the postures, it's equally important. So pushing the floor away, lifting the upper body, and then let's just pause here at the top. We don't want to move too quickly in Yin because the tissues will spring back. And then you can use your hands to help you bring your knees up. And we're going to lay down on our back. Keep your knees bent, lying down on your back. Knees are bent, heels underneath the knees. And then stretch the legs straight. And the next posture is going to be a side bending posture. So if you think of a banana shape, we're going to be putting our body into that shape. So the only thing you really have to remember about this posture is the hips stay down, the buttocks stay down, they don't move. What moves is the legs and the upper body. So we're going to move the legs to the right and the upper body to the right. Make sure that left buttock is glued down to the mat. Then I'm going to lift my arms above my head, and you might be able to see that I'm clasping my elbows. So with my left hand, I have my right elbow, with my right elbow the left, so that my armpits are open and being stretched. Okay, but that doesn't work for everybody's shoulders. So another variation is your left arm is just above your head, and with the right wrist or the right hand, you're just gently pulling on that wrist so that you're feeling the tension all the way down the left side of the body. Okay. So think of a banana shape. Your left hips are the furthest point. And then settling in. So finding the shape. Finding stillness. Really relaxing the left side of the body. Noticing what you're feeling. How would you rate the intensity of the sensation on a scale of 1 to 10? So it's going to be a 3-minute hold. Practicing bringing curiosity and interest to being here in this shape. Noticing, softening, yielding. Simply being here in this shape. You're not striving to go deeper. As long as there's some sensation, you're doing it. So if you're feeling it, you're doing it. Couple more breaths. Come back to center. I like to bring the knees into the chest here. Reset, knees to chest. You can gently rock your back. Okay, then we're going to do the other side. So extending the legs. This time keeping the right buttock down, the hips down. Move the upper body to the left. And the legs to the left. Okay, so you got this banana shape. The right hip this time being the furthest part of the body, poking out to the right. Okay. So find the arm position. If you can, you're bringing the arms above the head. That doesn't feel good. Maybe you're just pulling on the right wrist with the left hand. Or maybe you just simply have that right arm resting above your head in some way. So settling in. Noticing sensation, you're fully present and you're awake to the physical sensations that you're experiencing in your body. Whatever it might be in each moment, present and awake. As best you can, staying with the sensation. And this side might feel different than the left side. See if you can let go of the tendency to judge or to prefer some sensations over the other. Sometimes we're like, oh, I don't like this pose. I don't like that pose. Just allowing things to be exactly as they are. – 45 more seconds. Bringing curiosity. As best you can, being aware of how you're feeling here, what you're feeling, what's happening within the body. Last few breaths. Back to center, you can bring the knees into your chest. Rock side to side. And then just pause, knees are bent. I'd walk your feet out to the edges of the mat and let the knees drop together. So you're knock-kneed. Just finding the stillness. You might have your hands resting on your belly and you're breathing into your hands. So belly breathing. And on the out breath,
The belly falls. And on the in-breath, the belly rises. And then the breath turns around, and notice on the out-breath, the belly falls. Okay, last hip opener. It's going to be it's called stirrup pose. We're going to do one leg at a time. So I'm going to have you bring your right leg up and then bending your right knee down towards your right shoulder. And then reaching the arm so that you can grab the right foot. I like to grab the outer edge of the foot rather than the inner edge. And then you're pulling down, okay, on the foot so that you're directing the right knee down towards the floor. And then do whatever you like with the left leg. Extend the left leg or have it in a diamond shape. You could even have the left foot planted with the left knee bent up like a mountain peak. And settling in. Okay. It's not going to be a long hold. This is very intense. So I'm going to do 1 minute. Think about really softening and yielding into that right hip, to the right hip joint. Aware of your breathing. You're not manipulating your breath. You're just aware of it. When we come into these challenging shapes in yoga, it's easy to sort of hold the breath. That's normal to hold the breath, but that actually is telling your nervous system to contract. And we actually want to let go. So we can use our breath to self-regulate, to make the postures more accessible, because that slow, deep, rhythmic breathing tells the body everything's okay. My timer. Okay, sorry. Okay, go ahead and release. And just pause in stillness before we do the other side. And just simply experiencing this stillness. You might notice how this practice has helped you to step out of autopilot. You've been paying attention to your body, to your breath. Feeling more connected, more grounded. And then when you're ready, moving to the left side. So bending the left leg up, bringing the left knee to the left shoulder, grabbing the outer edge of the left foot. Straightening the right leg or letting the right knee fall down to the right in a butterfly shape. And settling in. And this side will probably feel quite different. You're not trying to change anything, but just noticing
Is the left foot level? Is the inner edge of the foot level with the outer edge of the foot? Is the heel over the knee? Resisting any impulses to move. It's really present here, a softening into the left hip. Just being open to this experience. How does this side feel different? And checking in with your breathing. A couple more breaths. And letting that side go. You feel you want to bring your knees into your chest before final resting posture, or stretch the legs up. I'm just going to circle my ankles a little bit. And then final resting posture, Shavasana or corpse pose. Here for sure you want to make sure you're comfortable, maybe taking a blanket or a pillow. Separate the arms away from the body, the feet, the legs away from the hips. Really allowing yourself to relax here. It's important not to strive too hard to relax, because striving, again, is a doing mode rather than a being mode. So just finding your body in this shape. The toes can fall away from the heels. You don't need to hold the legs together. Just allowing the pelvis to sink into the earth. The eyes can close if that's comfortable for you. Relaxing the thumbs. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. Forehead is broadening. Eyelids softening. Eyeballs sinking. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. Soften your breathing. You don't disturb the stillness of the physical body. Letting the breath be whatever it wants to be. Just holding your stillness. Deepening the breath. Pausing here to Really pay attention to this experience of ease, release, peacefulness, calm, relax. We want to install this feeling into our nervous system. So just taking another few seconds just to experience it. Noticing the sense of spaciousness, not just in the physical body, but also you may be experiencing more space in the mind, less monkey mind, less thoughts, more space between one thought and the next. So you have stepped out of autopilot. And bringing some movement to the fingers and the toes, the ankles, the wrists. And of course, taking permission to stay as you are. Or making your way onto your right side. Finding any comfortable seat to close the practice. So, well, may the awareness that you brought with you and that you cultivated today in the practice, may that be with you in all areas of your life. Namaste. So nice to see you and hope to see you guys soon. Hope everybody's doing well. I miss everybody. The classes are going to resume next Monday. So this yin class is 4:00 on Mondays. If you're comfortable to come to the club, they only allow 9 people in each class. You do have to register, no walk-ins. It's quite strict, but we haven't had any issues in the fitness center. It's also good to do it on Zoom too, though. Maybe an option. Bonnie's nodding her head. Yeah. I think Yin's quite good on Zoom because the postures are fairly simple. You know, we're holding them for a long time. So I think it's easy to keep people safe. Okay, so see you guys soon. Bye.